same time in order to fulfill this little intent that you had. Intention and attention are the two qualities inherent in that field of consciousness, the cosmic computer. Attention is energy, intention is information. And what's the world made up of? Energy and information. So if you were to really become aware of your qualities of consciousness, attention and intention, you would be laying the groundwork to fulfill all your desires. We apply this law of intention and desire by first making a list of all our desires, then taking that list of desires and surrendering it to the womb of creation, reminding ourselves to practice present moment awareness, this moment as it should be. So I was going to come to that quote of Aldous Huxley, and I'd like to read it to you, because what it says is, it says Aldous Huxley gives a very clear example of physiological intelligence that is present and has infinite organizing power. That physiological intelligence can do anything for us. So I'm just looking up that quote, and what he said was, just look at an example, for example, the example of a parrot that's learning to imitate human sounds. How does it do that? How does a parrot learn to imitate human sounds? Some little intention in this little brain that is the size of a pea, and then it sets into motion an infinity of space-time events so that it can imitate a human voice that requires vocal cords, tongue, teeth, a cerebral cortex, a neocortex. How does that happen? Just through intent. A parrot with a pea-sized brain can do that. We are doing that all the time. When we walk from here to there, do you know the complexity of that? That if you were to be aware of every little muscle that has to relax, that has to contract, you could never do it. It would boggle the mind of a neuroscientist to do it. Every physiological function that you can think of, to metabolize one molecule of sugar by a cell requires infinite organizing power. A cell has to immediately send orders to the pancreas to start secreting insulin, send orders also to the pancreas to start secreting glucagon, to the brain to start secreting growth hormone. A whole symphony has to be orchestrated. But the cell is a conscious entity. And if your body's cells can do it, why can't you? Why can't you? You can, because the totality that is you is the conglomeration, the totality of all these very intelligent cells that already know how to fulfill their desires. And the world out there is our extended body. And if you are familiar with the quantum mechanical framework that I've talked about so many times, then you'll realize that there aren't any well-defined edges to our body. We are so inseparably connected with the patterns of intelligence in the cosmos. And when we let our intention there, then we let that cosmic mind orchestrate the infinity of space-time events to bring about the outcome that we intended. We have 2 more laws of success to deal with, and then we'll have covered the 7 spiritual laws of success. And once we begin to culture these laws of success in our awareness, in fact, I would suggest that every day you might want to put your attention on just one law. So you could make Sunday the day of pure potentiality, Monday the day of giving, Tuesday the day of karma, and so forth. Wednesday, the law of least effort, and then intention and desire, and so on. Then you'll find that soon this will be just the way you think and act and behave, and spontaneously you will be finding success in all areas of your life, not just material, but as I said earlier, spiritual and psychological and emotional, and it'll be so easy and effortless. So let's talk about the remaining two laws. The sixth law is the law of detachment. I'd like to read to you again from an ancient text, the Mundaka Upanishad. Speaking of the law of detachment, the Upanishad, which is an ancient sacred text of the Vedic tradition, says, like two golden birds perched on the self-same tree, intimate friends, the ego and the self dwell in the same body. The former eats the sweet and sour fruits of the tree of life, while the latter looks on in detachment. What does that mean? We have two centers of being simultaneously operating in us all the time. Coming back to that diagram, one is the ego, which is our state of object referral, where we are viewing ourselves through the eyes of others. The ego lives in fear always, because all its actions are in anticipation of response. And it's always wondering, is this right, is this wrong? What will be the reaction if I do this? It's fear. It's wounded. And the spirit is that part of ourselves which is beyond that mask of the ego. The ego is where time is also manufactured. The spirit is timeless. It's that timeless factor in the midst of every experience. When your internal reference point shifts from the ego to the spirit, then spontaneously you become an alert witness to your own self. You become an alert witness to your own self. And in that alert witnessing, there is detachment. There is detachment. You recognize that you're not the roles you're playing. That, in fact, it may be our destiny to play an infinity of roles, but we are not the roles we are playing. I'm playing the role right now of this fellow who writes these books and gives these lectures. But is that me? Because as soon as I finish this, I'll go home and probably call my son in New York City, and then I'll be playing the role of a father. And perhaps tomorrow I'll call my father in India, and I'll be playing the role of a son. Call my wife, play the role of a husband. Call up a patient in the past and play the role of a doctor. These are roles I'm playing. When I become alert to the fact that I'm playing these roles and stop identifying with the roles I'm playing, then in that very alert witnessing, there is the spontaneous detachment which creates for success. And everybody's been brought up to believe that you've got to get attached to your goal. The answer is no. You have to have the goal, but you have to have detachment as well. It means that you have to be process-oriented, not outcome-oriented. It means that I'm walking this road because I want to get there, but if I didn't get there, it does not matter, because this is the road I want to walk on. And as I walk this road, I feel joy and exuberance and exhilaration and ecstasy. That's what detachment is. So in detachment, there is the wisdom of what can only be called uncertainty. Uncertainty is very freeing, because uncertainty creates freedom from our past. What is the past? The past is the prison of the known, the prison of past conditioning. If life was full of certainty all the time, you would be a prisoner of that. In fact, most people are prisoners. It's dull, it's boring, it's mundane, it's trivial. In our willingness to step into the unknown, we are actually stepping into the field of all possibilities. We are surrendering ourselves to the creative mind that orchestrates the dance of the universe. We are stepping away from fear and insecurity. The need for certainty is just the need for security, which is based on our past. So it is not the unknown that we need to fear. It is the known that we need to fear, if there is anything to fear.